We now return to Let's Play Anno 1404, with a little bit of post-commentary because somebody forgot to turn on his microphone. So these next few episodes are going to be not the best quality. There might also be a little bit of tearing and discoloration, and I apologize for that. Anyway, it had been a little bit of time since I had last played, and so I kind of forgot what I was doing. I needed to make sure my patricians were getting their beer and bread requirements, which meant I was going to have to expand. I was thinking to that northern island, but I decided to continue on this island. There's a little bit of room in the north, in the foresty area, that is not utilized, and the small market building can get up there, and that one is just too far away to be useful. But aside from that coal mine right there, it's a good spot for, at the very least, the wheat fields. And of course, I got that off just a little bit. But I get my resources back when I destroy stuff, so that's nice. Anyway, there's plenty of room there for the wheat field. Just need to remember how big that is. It's going to be an 8x8 area, essentially. If I spread it out correctly, I can also get the mill and bakery in position. I think that's the edge of the city there, so expanding closer to it isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's just that little outcrop right there that's going to be a pain, and I need to leave space for a road, which of course is going to be the only way everything is going to get to that market building.
One of your plants has stopped producing goods.
And this is where overproduction is becoming a problem, as well as distribution. But mostly overproduction on this island, because I get this notification constantly now about my industry breaking down, and I've got that off by one. A lot of fun. Of course, it's not just as simple as moving it, because now it's out of range of the other crop, so that whole thing has to be rejiggered, which is fun. Not too big a deal, though, fortunately. I mean, obviously, I'm putting this down myself, and I'm not really optimizing it, but if I had a choice, I would not have this over there at all. I would have a more centralized storehouse so I can lay it out around it. And the bigger islands that you get, or at least that you have an option to get, it'd be nice to put the bakery there, but it's not going to happen. For large islands, for optimal layouts and stuff, I mean, I don't care for the fact that the game has the pre-built cities every mission, and I kind of understand why they do it, and I guess it does help towards some variety, but it is kind of annoying, actually. So that should be enough to meet their requirements, but the problem is I don't have any in stock, and so it's dwindling rapidly, which means that really I'd be better off just expanding to kind of build that up quickly so I don't lose out on a lot of money. And the only space I've got, this area of housing on the left is just not... I've got too many patricians, so it's not really necessary, and I should definitely start building into it. Ah, yes, I figured out where the quartz quarry was. However, requires a diplomatic rank, which I have no idea how to get, or had no idea how to get at the time, because there aren't any northern or occidental settlements where you can buy those reputation things. Oh my god, Northborough. And so it's quest-based when you get the next jump up, and these are the only quests I've got, and I'm kind of stuck getting the indigo paper because of the whole glass thing. So it's really a catch-22. But in order to alleviate this stupid warning constantly popping up, I've decided to go ahead and sell off all of my excesses, and I've got weapons and iron, stone, and tools, and probably not a great idea to be selling the building materials, because when we do start expanding, I'll need them, but at least it'll help the problem of always being full and having nowhere to take my goods. I could, I guess, just have turned off the production buildings and saved myself some money, but whatever. Make some money.
Come in, be my guest.
And yeah, so I'm just looking around. There is nothing that I can buy that would really help me at this point as far as gaining reputation and finding some way of building the quartz quarries. Marie offers no help whatsoever on her island, so really on her own. But, you know, in the end, it doesn't turn out to be necessary at all. I mean, it'd be nice to have the quartz, but it's completely unnecessary. Maybe on harder difficulties it's important. But just buying it is viable enough as it is. So, really, selling products, and at this point, tools, transferring tools over to the island that doesn't need tools anymore, kind of unnecessary. We can just start making some money with it. And with the money that we're making, I can just go buy the quartz, which is fairly cheap and replenishes probably a lot quicker than it would if I had created some mines. And looking at that map now, I realize how little I actually explored. Oh well. So, with the northern island, we'll just start getting rid of some unnecessary materials that are sort of clogging up the storeyards. A little bit premature, because I'm not yet done with my glass production, book production setup. It's definitely something I'm going to have to expand at least one more production line, because we need this a little bit quicker. This mission, or this chapter, has been dragging on for quite some time, and I think it's time to end it. But my paper mills are just not producing because they seem to be running out of wood. Thing is, we're full up on wood, so this is not a problem of getting the production. It's a problem of distribution, and so I'm going to have to upgrade those marketplaces, warehouses, eventually. That debtor's prison is a little bit too expensive at the moment to be viable. I mean, it requires 24 glass, and glass takes a while to build up. Fortunately, it does not require too much. Yeah, the nomads are just not worth building up at this point. There's too much material that needs to go into it, and again, we're stuck with not having the diplomatic rank, which I only get by completing that quest over there. One thing I'm not thinking about at the moment, though, I'm too worried about building books and not realizing that I can get paper and indigo to fulfill the quest, and that would solve some problems. But there were a lot of things going on, and a lot of things that, coming back to the game after so long and trying to refigure out where everything was and what I was doing. I had about 4 different things going on that I was trying to juggle and to make work. So yeah, those wheat fields are not going to fit on the inside, unfortunately, because they're too big, but I can definitely dig into the forest just outside of the town. I don't have any wood buildings that require it. The charcoal burner's not there, and I don't have any woodcutters buildings, so over there is an ideal location. It's fairly close to the warehouse, or the marketplace, whatever it's called. But yeah, so I'll turn off the beer. The breweries, I guess, take the wheat and what are those, herbs? So it requires 2 crops. And I do still have some space over on that side for more of the wheat. It gets awfully close to that coal mine, but I don't really end up using it.
I'm in full agreement.
Plenty of, and that's a pretty good, those weapons are making me quite a bit of money. Money that right now I don't actually need, seeing as how I'm quite profitable. But yeah, that's a pretty nice space for the wheat fields. Unfortunately, it just closes off that whole area. So it's a solution for now, assuming that I'll just never use the coal. But I need at least one so I can start making the monasteries and the monastery brewery. And it takes 8 fields, which was not something I had anticipated, but they're small fields, so it actually doesn't require too much space to have these herb gardens, which is kind of nice, I guess. Could move that over just a little bit, but I didn't. But it does fit things in there pretty nicely on just the half, so
Production has been disrupted.
when I need to, I can expand my beer production a little bit. Too much stone, time to get rid of it. Because at this point, that's really all this island is good for until I get the glass production up and running. Yeah, this island is a major expense. Part of that's my own problem because I've built an unnecessary tool setup. I could just be transferring all that. The jerkins, we only need the one. That actually takes up to like 2,000 plus patricians, so it's a good deal. And we're doing it on a half as well, because all the production that I've got can take 2 more pig farms and 1 more fur mill, or whatever the hell that thing is. Anyway, back to what was more important. Distractions are constant in these next few episodes just because I'm trying to juggle. This one in particular, though, because I came back to it and was just trying to figure out what the hell I was doing. And that next field is just not going to fit very nicely. But I can always make up for it with more expansion later. There's a nice little bit around there. Not making too much progress on those quests otherwise, but this does take a little bit of time to get up and running. So we have no, I was just checking there, we have no need of the rest of that forest. And I definitely don't need to be expanding my homes anymore because I've got plenty of population. And they're a bit of a drain on the resources. So back to here, I can finally build a bookmaker, which is a step too far for completing that one quest, but I'm unnecessarily focused on getting Hilarious done. His quests are unnecessary. I don't really use the honor. I've already got 960 just sitting there in the bank. Al-Zahir doesn't really help out with anything like
Marvelous.
reputation items. Can't see a need for roses. That's sale though. See, the quartz is almost back to full. I mean, it's almost instantaneous. It's much more viable, I think, at this point, just to buy it rather than produce it on my own. I mean, it just goes up so quickly. The main problem, though, is distance traveling. So I buy the sail because it helps speed things along. And just with a fast ship and some money, we can take care of our quartz problem without having to worry about the island and getting my own mines up, which would be an expense anyway. So when you look at it that way, and the quartz actually does last for quite a while just because of how slow it is to produce the glass. An extra production line would help speed that up, but seeing as I've only got the one, I only need a small amount, though. That's the thing. That's what's holding me back from going full on. And a little bit of a tear there.
By Allah, we have to stop this injustice.
So my fleet is kind of small. It's going to have to be expanded at some point, but that's just one more thing on the list.
Oh, yes.
Al-Zahir is a little bit too excited with the trades. One thing I didn't notice beforehand was the fish. I'm starving my population. Right now that's not having an impact, but it will. It's taking a while to get that beer. Another beer setup would be good, but that means another wheat field, because we're using all of it. And that area right there around those other fields is pretty much taken up, except for that one spot that is currently blocked by that mill. The mill can be moved, though.
Delightful.
That's really the only other expansion area that I've got on this island, unless I want to continue building more and more of these marketplaces. Unfortunately, it is not optimally spaced either, because I can only run a road through there. I can't really run anything else. But it's going to be necessary if I want to get this done in a timely fashion, which I kind of do. Yeah, that's just really annoying, actually. So, trying to move that charcoal maker, just so I have better spacing where it is. Kind of don't think I really need much more of it, but just playing my options there because, again, we're running out of space on the island. So, there's all the quartz. All the quartz I could ever want and or need. It seriously takes quite a while to go down. Which I guess is good. But indigo is the problem here. Indigo is something I'm really not focusing on. Need at least another one. And the Noria layout that I've got here is not optimized, obviously. I'm sure I could get more than 3, but in its current configuration, up against the corner of the island, such as it is, I'm really only going to get 3 fields in there. 3 farms, I mean. But I don't need any more dates, and I'm not going to get any more milk. So 1 more for the indigo, should we need it. Yes. Time to upgrade the distribution network to make this go just a little bit faster. Because we've got some glass production now, we've got some indigo, we can start making those books. And Northborough continues to harp on people stopping production. Oh my god. It gets to a point where it's not noticeable anymore just because it's this constant... It's like white noise, really. Very small trade routes, but we really don't need too much with them. I mean, given how large the map is, buying more of those sails probably would have been a great idea. Not something I was thinking about at the time. Again, to try and alleviate the message issue, consider selling some things, but I'm just worried because I know that I'm going to need all those resources at some point. Because we have to build ships and get the war fleet going.
Production has been disrupted.
And that is really actually very annoying. So aside from upgrading the marketplaces and getting the distribution moving a little bit faster, some stone roads would probably be nice too. Right now I'm just focused on doubling down on what little production I've got, thinking that that is the problem, which partially it is because it takes so long for one of these industries to build or to create the goods that I require. But I've got enough of the raw goods, the raw materials, that it's a question of distribution.
One of your plants has stopped producing goods.
Wow. It's even more annoying the second time around. So yeah, at this point, it's obvious what I need to do, but, of course, I'm selling my building materials. So we need to stop that. And then, of course, that precipitates more waiting, which is always fun. Anyway, I think the rest of my industries look pretty good. So really, I mean, that's all I'm waiting on right now. I could finish that quest. I don't seem to realize it, but I mean, once the books are done, the other things are done as well. But it is kind of an unnecessary waste of time because I could be working on the other parts of this. But I still have a problem where my patricians are sort of precarious as far as their needs being met. The beer and bread are slowly catching up, but it's going to take a little while before we've got a comfortable surplus. We don't have glass. And we don't produce stone on the northern island up there, so we'll just have to trade some of it. Just to make sure I can build some more stuff and upgrade my warehouse that I keep forgetting about. So many things to try and keep track of all at once. A little bit scatterbrained. Still, between this episode and the next, I take some time to get my bearings again and try and remember what I've got going on, which I should have done before recording this to begin with, and then maybe I wouldn't have forgotten to record my microphone either. Funny how that works. And there we go. Okay, that should take care of everybody. I think this is near the end, so I guess I'll see you next time. Eventually. Christ.